Hi guys, good morning. I hope everybody is doing good. Yeah, so I see five of you that are there. So maybe we'll wait for 2, 3 more minutes. Let your friends join and we can start. Right. So how about your school people? Did they start your 10th questions? Hmm? Did your school start your syllabus?
Yes, sir.
No, they started. Nice. So this chapter, chemical reactions and equations, how's it going? Like, are you able to correlate what we are studying and what they are teaching there? Are you finding it helpful? Have you started this chapter, chemical reactions and equations?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Nice. Just another minute and start. Suppose, yeah, I see a lot of people have joined. Good. Okay. Fine. So we have enough number of people, so we'll start. So I think it's been a time, it's been some time since we met, isn't it? So I think it was some Wednesday, right? So instead of physics class, we met, and after that, that Sunday we didn't meet again, and we are meeting after almost like 1.5 weeks, right? So we have been looking only into the basics till now. Only in the last class we actually went on to see what is there in this chapter, right? So we were concentrating on how to write the formulas, so on and so forth, polyatomic ions, the cations, anions, slip swapping, getting the formula out, right? So last class, right, what we saw, if you can remember, right? So we saw the difference between a chemical reaction and a chemical equation, right? Both are chemical reactions basically, right? But a better way of representation, right? So we said that, say, if I have sodium plus chlorine plus give sodium chloride, if I'll not be able to write it in a very big words like that, right? So for that, for me to conveniently express or conveniently represent a chemical reaction, we go for chemical equation. So how do I define a chemical equation? A chemical equation is nothing but a symbolic representation of a chemical reaction. That is the simplest way of putting it. We are going to use symbols, right, for representing the chemical reactions, right? Okay. Then I told you there are certain things you have to keep in mind whenever you're going to write a chemical equation, right? So whenever you have metals, right? Whenever you have metals like say sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, so on and so forth, right? They will be in their monoatomic state, right? We will write it as Na or Mg or Ca, something like this. We don't write Ca2, Mg2, something like that, right? But when we go for non-metals, right? I told you that there will be generally diatomic, right? So for example, hydrogen, oxygen, whenever there is say calcium plus oxygen gives calcium oxide, right? If I write this reaction, calcium oxide, right? So you see, oh, it's not oxide, you should write it as oxygen, I'm sorry, right? Calcium plus oxygen gives calcium oxide. Maybe we'll spend some time on this. Can you just take a minute and write the chemical equation for this? Right? Write the you have this chemical reaction. Can you write the equation for this? I hope everybody is sitting along with a pen and a paper, or not a paper, proper notebook. Yeah. Can someone tell me what is the equation? Ca plus O gives CaO, Ca plus O2 gives CaO. Yeah, so better. Harita, before that was someone who wrote correctly. So we know for calcium it is Ca, right? Just now I told you if it is metal, calcium is a metal. We'll speak about it. Don't worry. How are they metals? How are they not metals? Stuff, right? For now, you know certain metals are there, right? So here calcium, monoatomic, Ca we write, right? And for oxygen, we don't write O. There was a person who wrote Ca plus O gives CaO. No. How do you have to write? We have to make sure that oxygen will always be in the form of O2. It is diatomic, right? So Ca plus O2 gives CaO, right? This is the correct equation. But again, there are certain things missing here, right? Can you tell me what is missing? What else we have to do here?
Balancing the equation.
Yes, we have to balance the equation, right? Okay, so we'll come to that later, right? If at all you need to understand how is it. So you see, you one calcium. So what I told you, the number of atoms of each element, right? You have to check for each element how many atoms are there in the reactant side, how many of that element is there in the product side, and they should be equal. If they are not equal, you have to make it equal, right? Okay, so we have calcium and one calcium basically, right? Here also I have one calcium, right? Okay, fine, calcium is okay. Now when I go for oxygen, here it is O2, that is two oxygen atoms. Here it is only one oxygen atom, right? So what we'll do, we will put 2 here so that two oxygen atoms, but again calcium becomes a problem now, right? I have one calcium, but here I have two calciums. So what will I do? I'll put 2 here, right? So this is the balanced equation. 2Ca plus O2 gives 2CaO is the full balanced chemical equation, right? Okay, anyways. So why did I mention all this? Because you have to understand that oxygen will always be in the diatomic form. Hydrogen will also be like this. Nitrogen will be in the form of N2. Chlorine, if I write, it will be Cl2. All non-metals. Like if you remember periodic table, at least you must have seen it in your life at least once, right? So which says this is the periodic table. Whichever elements are there on the right hand side of the periodic table. This is your right, I suppose, right? So whichever element is there on the right hand side of the periodic table will always exist in diatomic form. You see, oxygen, chlorine, fluorine, bromine, all these things. Hydrogen is an exception. We'll speak about it later, right? But all the elements which are there in the right hand side of the periodic table will always exist in diatomic form. Sometimes there are elements which exist even in more than diatomic form. Can you tell me, I told you, I think one element which exists in tetraatomic state, one non-metal, what was that? We write O2, right? We write something, some element with 4, some 4. What was that? Does anybody remembers? Sulfur would be SH, that is still more, right? Sulfur will be octatomic. Oct means 8. There was something 4. What was that?
Sir, phosphorus.
Correct. Phosphorus, right? Phosphorus will exist in P4 state. Okay, right? Anyways, right? No, but they'll not ask you any of this. Don't worry. They'll just go for diatomic states. Okay, fine. So this is what we have been seeing in the last class, right? Okay, so this class we'll just try to have more equations. We'll then concentrate on how to solve, how to balance the chemical equation. Why are we balancing the chemical equation? And then if at all time permits, we'll see what are the other things we have. Okay, fine. So, right, and before we move on, right, there are certain elements, right? There are certain elements for which you have to know the ionic state, right? So for most of the elements, sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, you know how the say Mg means Mg2 plus, Na means Na plus, Li means Li plus, Al means Al3 plus. This one all we know, right? But for certain elements, you will not be able to predict as such, right? Say one is barium, right? Now barium is Ba, right? Now please understand, right? Ba will form Ba2 plus ion. Please remember this, okay? If at all you want logically, I can explain how this comes. Remember, if I look at, okay, hope everybody knows the periodic table, and there are something called as groups and periods. Do you know this? In periodic table, there are something called as groups and periods. Does anybody know about this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Someone knows about it. So please understand. So basically, if I take the periodic table, right? So there will be vertical columns like this, right? And also there will be horizontal rows like this, isn't it? Right. So this vertical column, this one, right? This particular, each column is what is called as a group, right? This is one group, this is second group, third group, fourth group, fifth group. Okay. So the vertical columns are what are called as groups. Okay. And this horizontal rows, right? This is what is called as a period. Okay, we'll speak again more about this when we go for periodic table, but for now, just for your understanding, right? So the vertical columns are what are called as groups, and the horizontal rows are what are called as periods. And obviously, you will have elements here. Okay, right. Now, you see where barium comes, right? Now, barium will be here. Say this is the group 1. Say I will have lithium, sodium, potassium, that group. Okay, then I will have basically beryllium, magnesium, calcium, barium. This is where barium is. Okay, so one thing you can remember, people, right? What you can remember is if the elements are there in the same group, like this, see, you have lithium, sodium, potassium, all are there in the same group. Same way, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, barium, strontium, all these are in the same group, right? So whenever you see elements are there in the same group, they will form same ion, same cation or same anion. I think you'll be able to understand, right? Li will form Li plus. Same way, Na will form Na plus. K will form K plus. Right? Same way, I know beryllium forms beryllium 2 plus. Mg forms Mg2 plus. Ca forms Ca2 plus. Same way, Ba will form Ba. Right? Now, if at all you want to verify how whether it's 2 plus or not, you have to know the atomic number. Then go for octet rule. But I think octet rule will not work here because it's a little more way down the group. But still, what you have to understand, isn't hydrogen in group 1? Okay, that's a good question, right? Hydrogen is not there in any group. Okay, hydrogen, if you see, they would have put it somewhere here. It's not in this group. It's not attached to this one. But in some textbooks, you will see that. But ideally speaking, hydrogen should not be belonging to any of the group. Okay, because it's a little complicated. Why is it complicated? I can tell you, hydrogen, see, you have atomic number of 1. Right. So hydrogen can either form H plus by losing this 1 electron, 0 electrons, or hydrogen can accept an electron to form H minus. Both these things are possible for hydrogen. Okay, that is why we don't put it in any of the group, right? It is not in group 1, it is not in group 17. You can tell. So group 17 will be Cl minus, Br minus.
Can you
F
repeat
minus.
again, sir?
Sure. So what I'm telling, but it's not now important. But still, just to come in your period table chapter again. So what I'm telling is the question was hydrogen. Is it not there in the group 1? Right? The answer is no. It's not in group 1. It's in none of the group. It's somewhere above. Okay. Now why are we putting it like this? Is because hydrogen, you see, hydrogen has 1 electron. Hydrogen atomic number is 1. There is only 1 valence electron, isn't it? Right. So for it to satisfy duplet, obviously after is not possible. So for it to satisfy duplet, it can accept 1 electron. Right? It can accept 1 electron.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, it is going to form H minus. Okay. But we already know H plus is also possible in acid system. It's going to be the H plus. How it will form? I have only 1 electron. Just remove this electron. There are no electrons now in hydrogen. Right? So it forms H plus. H plus has no electron. It has only 1 proton. That's why it's positive. Okay. So anyways, so that is the reason why we don't put hydrogen in any of this. Right? We put it above somewhere above the periodic table.
Okay, sir.
Right? Okay, cool. So why did I tell all this is because, yeah, barium, right? So barium, you see, it belongs to the same group as in the case of calcium, magnesium, chromium, and all that. Not this thing, beryllium and all that, right? So that also forms Ba2 plus. Remember this, because a lot of times questions will come like barium nitrate. If I ask you what is the formula for barium, can you tell me? Okay, I want the formula for barium nitrate. Okay, can you tell me the formula? Take a minute and tell me what is the formula for barium nitrate?
Sir, BaNO3 twice.
Good, right? So I know now, just now I told you Ba is Ba2 plus. I know nitrate is NO3 minus. Whenever you see 8, oxygen is going to come. Right. Okay, now we'll swap. Right. So Ba has 1. And now see, this entire group should get 2. So we'll put a bracket. So it will be Ba NO3 twice. Good. Okay, anyways. So this is one thing is about barium, right? The other common, okay, I think I'm going to rub this part. There's nothing important here. This is just a periodic table. Right. The next one can be, the next 2 things you have to understand. Next one is lead, right? The other one is zinc. Okay. So these are not the from, like, how to say, why are we seeing them separately? Is you will not be able to predict the cation, what cation these elements are going to form through the normal method. We go for what to say, octet, removing electron, adding electron, all these things. So for these elements, the atomic number is pretty big. Okay, so writing the electronic configuration, then removing the electron is very complicated. Okay, so then what we have to do is we can remember it, right? So Ba, I told you, will form Ba2 plus. Lead, what is the symbol, people? What is the symbol? Good, right, good. So Pb is the symbol. Again, Pb will form Pb2 plus. Okay, remember this. Again, zinc will form zinc 2 plus. This alone you have to remember. 3 elements alone you have to remember. Okay, barium will form barium 2 plus, Pb will form Pb2 plus, and zinc will form Zn2 plus. Okay, right? So this alone you remember, then we can actually go for whatever you wanted to see, right? Cool. So barium, zinc, and lead. Other than that, for all the other elements, you know how to get the ion. Like go for the electronic configuration, remove electron, add electron, get the ion. Okay. Fine. So let us concentrate on this. Right. So let me give you a simple reaction. You have to write the equation. Okay. Fine. So I have nitrogen plus hydrogen giving ammonia. Go for it. Write the equation for this. And if at all you try to balance it also. We didn't see balancing as such. But anyways, you have been, I think, doing it from little lower classes. Anyways, try this. Anyways, I'll help you. Right. So nitrogen plus hydrogen gives ammonia. Write the equation for this. Again, confusions. How do I call you? SANNUE, San UV? I don't know how do you, can I call you Kumar? Yeah, that's better. Right. So Kumar, there is a small mistake in your equation. So there is always, I told you this confusion will come. Ammonia and ammonium. I told you how to recognize it, right? So yeah, anybody wants to tell me what is the equation? Yes, equation. What is the equation here? No, who was that? It was 1 second. Arman, right? Okay, Arman, there is again small mistake. Please check. This is not how you write an equation. Yes, I hope. I know so many of you would have written it. It doesn't matter if you're wrong, people. Just put it. Okay, I think I got it. This is correct, Kumar. N2 plus H2 gives NH3. Good. Right. So again, nitrogen, non-metal, hydrogen, non-metal. So if you're gonna write N and H, absolutely wrong. Right? The hydrogen is not a non-metal, but still, hydrogen exists in atmosphere as H2. Again, Durlab, it's H2. Right? Okay, so it's N2. Okay, right? And hydrogen will be in the form of H2. Please remember this. Right? And then ammonia, we know ammonia is NH3. Someone wrote ammonium, that is NH4, they wrote. NH4 plus is ammonium ion. I told you, whenever you see this IUM, it is positive charge. Sodium, potassium, magnesium, like that. Whenever you see this IUM, it is basically going to be a positive charge, cation. Right now it is ammonia compound, NH3. Okay, fine. So we'll try to balance this maybe. Right. So if I try to balance it again, go by the normal conventions. You check for both the elements. There are two elements, nitrogen, hydrogen, only two elements, nothing else is there. Right? Okay. So you have nitrogen, two nitrogen in the reactant side, only one nitrogen in the product side. Right? Fine. Again, two hydrogens in the reactant side, three hydrogens in the product side. So there are a lot of mismatches. Right? So we'll try to solve one by one. Okay, we'll take nitrogen first. Okay. So nitrogen, there are two nitrogens here, and there is only one nitrogen here. Right? So what can I do? I can put two here. Right? So nitrogen is now okay. Nitrogen is now okay. Nitrogen, two nitrogens. Done. Right? Now, hydrogen check. Yeah, here I have two hydrogens, and here I have how many hydrogens in the product side?
6.
6.
6. Right? Absolutely. You have two, and here you have 3. So 2 into 3 is what you have to do. Already I have 3 hydrogens. That multiplied by 2 will become 6. Okay. So here you have 6 hydrogens. Here you have only 2 hydrogens. So easily, if I put 3 here, then 3 into 2 is 6. 2 into 3 is 6. So now this is the balanced equation. N2 plus 3H2 gives 2 NH3. Okay. Right. Fine. Okay, now actually maybe we'll spend some time on balancing, why we are even balancing. Okay, fine. Now people, whenever a chemical reaction happens, right, it is bound to follow certain rules, okay, or laws, I can call it, how you have law of gravitation, law something, so many laws, right, you have studied, right, law of constant, like, anyways, right, there are so many laws which has to be followed for the chemical reaction to happen, right? If a chemical reaction happens, it will obviously follow all these rules. Okay, now those laws are what are called as laws of chemical combinations. Okay, these laws are what are called as laws of chemical combination. I think maybe you would have maybe even heard of it, right? Okay, basically there are 3-4 laws, but again in your syllabus we have I think only 2. We'll see both of them, and both are very important. Okay, fine. So as I told you, any chemical reaction happens, right? Any chemical reaction happens has to obey this particular laws. Okay, right. The first one under this, right, is what is called as law of conservation of mass. I think this is a very popular law, isn't it? You must have seen law of conservation of energy, law of conservation of momentum, law of conservation of mass. All these things you might have studied in lower classes. Anybody cares to comment or define what is law of conservation of mass?
Mass can either be
Correct. Tell me.
mass can
Mass can
either be created or
nor
be
destroyed.
in a chemical equation.
Okay. So, what I'm trying to say is mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. But remember, but it can be transformed from one form to another form. That is how you end the statement. Okay, right? It's not only during a chemical reaction, right? It is in with respect to anything for that matter. Any particular phenomena. You take, right? But again, in when you write in the exam, you mention chemical reaction, but still, this law holds good for so many other phenomena also, not only for chemical equations. Okay, so how do I define it? Mass can neither be created nor be destroyed, but can be transformed from one form to another form. As simple as that, right? You cannot create mass, you cannot destroy mass. All you can do is transform it from one form to another form. That's what it says. Okay, now what kind of transformation are we talking about? Right, we tell that mass can be converted from one form to another form. What we are trying to see is that mass of reactants, right, m of r is mass of reactants, will be transformed into mass of product. That is what is the transformation we're talking about. Okay, some amount of reactant, there'll be some mass, right? Now that will be that amount of mass will be converted into some amount of product, same amount of product. Say here, like your total is some x grams. Here also it will be some x grams. 10 grams means 10 grams. 5 grams means 5 grams. Whatever be the amount of reactants you have, mass of reactant, right? That same number will be the mass, exactly. Mass of reactant should be equal to the mass of product. Yes, that's exactly what we are trying to see, right? The total mass of the reactant should be equal to the total mass of product. That is what we are trying to establish here. The law says the exact same thing. Mass can neither be created nor be destroyed, but can be transformed from one form to another form. That means during a chemical reaction, there should not be any loss of mass. Mass cannot lose, like you cannot lose mass anywhere, right? So whatever you had initially, right? It's like this, right? Say you have a box full of 10 chocolates, right? Say you just put that particular, it's in a container, right? If you change the container, does the number of chocolates change? Obviously not, isn't it? You have 10 chocolates in a container. Now you put it in a different container, right? What will happen? The same 10 chocolates will be there, right? The same thing here. Everything is going to happen in a vessel, right? All the chemical reactions going to happen in say round bottom flask or a glass vessel, something, right? So obviously there should not be any loss of mass. Okay, so whatever be the amount of reactant you have, that or if I put exact words, whatever be the mass of the reactant you have, right, that should be the mass of the product also, because the reaction is completed. Entire mass of reactant has converted itself into the entire mass of product. Okay, right. Sometimes what you see is if at all I have x grams, sometimes you will see that it will not be exactly x if you measure it. If you try to take a weighing machine, right, and you measure, right, the weight or the mass, right, sometimes the mass of product can be lesser. And how can you account for it? Now, just now I told you that it is impossible for the masses to be different, the mass of reactant and mass of product to be different. But after the reaction, some reaction, right, some random reaction, right? This was X grams, right? And when I measured the mass of the product using a weighing machine, right, I found out that it is less than 8 grams. So what can I conclude about this? Any guesses? If the mass of the reactant is little lesser than the mass of, the mass of the product is little lesser than the mass of reactant, what can I conclude about it? Any
Sir,
idea?
the reaction has not taken place.
Okay, that is one way of looking at it. Say, I obviously understand that not any chemical reaction for that matter, right? Any chemical reaction for that matter will not be 100% completed. In the sense that if you have X grams, right, and if you see after the completion of the reaction, this ideally should have become 0 grams. There should not be any reactant left, right? And if you check this would be initially 0 because no reaction would have started. But at the end of the reaction, this would have become X grams again, right? This is ideal case when the entire amount of reactant is converted into the entire amount of product, 100% completion, right? But in reality, right, we definitely don't see this. Okay, so that means what? This means this X will not go to 0, but there'll be some amount of reactant left always. There'll always be some amount of reactant left. And maybe say, if I give you a number, maybe say out of 10 grams, right? Say I got like 8 grams of product here. Okay, so what happened? What can I conclude about it? Like what I can conclude is I have still, after the reaction is completed, right? After the reaction is completed, I still have 2 grams of the reactant left. That is what I understand. Okay, now this happens because of not 100% completion. The 100% completion cannot happen. There will always be some amount of reactant left, right? And that is why you see here it is 10 grams and it should have been 10 grams, but you see here it's only 8 grams. Whereas the rest 2 grams, it is still being there as the form of reactant, even after the reaction has gotten over. Right? Okay, that is one explanation. What can be other explanation? Assuming that the reaction has been 100% completed, right? Then also sometimes you see that it is not exactly equal. What can be the other reasons? Energy is produced. Not exactly. Even if energy is produced, even if it's an exothermic or endothermic chemical reaction, it has nothing to do with the mass. Energy can change, obviously, right? But it has nothing to do with the mass. Any other guesses? Good guess, actually. Nice guess. Okay. Any other guesses? What can be the other reason for this mismatch of the masses? See, the clue is that I am measuring with a weighing machine. That's the clue. Reactants get evaporated. Reactants get evaporated. You very little close to the answer, but still.
Sir, under the conditions, it may lose some of the reactants, sir. Certain conditions like heating, electricity.
Okay, fine, accepted. But again, not so much. Like again, the thing is, the weighing machine is what is the clue? Think about it. Products can get evaporated. Yes, again, you are coming change in solid state to gaseous state. Yes, that is what I was expecting. Right. See, for example, if one of the product is a gas, see, look at this. I'll write a reaction now. Right. Say I have CaCO3, calcium carbonate. Okay. Now calcium carbonate, I heat it. Okay, this is in solid state. Okay. Now you will form CaO, which is in solid state, right? And you will see that CO2 gas will be evolved, right? CO2 gas will be evolved, right? Say, now what you're trying to do is say, assume that you had 10 grams of CaCO3. Okay, so the total mass of this should have been 10 grams. Yes, accepted, right? But when you try to measure the weight in the product side, what will happen? The weight will come only from the solid. Can I measure the weight of a gas? No, right? It would have escaped, right? It would have gone to the atmosphere by the time you take a weighing machine and try to, weigh it, right? So one other reason for the mismatch to happen is when you have some gaseous product, right? Because what will happen? The gaseous product will escape, right? What will be left in the container only in the solid or liquid, right? So if you measure that weight alone, then you will have some mismatch. Okay, but ideally speaking, if I have 10 grams, this and this put together should be 10 grams. But we'll not be able to realize it because CO2 will be a gas and it will escape. So whatever the weight you're trying to measure will be the weight of calcium oxide only. Right? Okay, and that's why we see a mismatch. Okay, fine. Anyways, so these are all the things you have to remember, right? So whenever the only one thing is mass can either be created nor be destroyed. So like if at all, if there can be problems also coming from this, right? Say something like if I give you like this, say I have A plus B giving C plus D, right? And I tell that say 3 grams of A and 4 grams of B react, right? And I got say 5 grams of D, right? What is the mass of C? Can you tell me? I have a reaction like this. I added 3 grams of A and 4 grams of B.
Two, sir.
Correct. Understood. Yes, correct. Right. So totally, you see the total mass of the reactant is 7 grams. Right. Now here you see I'm telling that 5 grams of D is getting formed. Right. So you see that obviously the total should be 7 grams, but I have 5 grams of D, so the rest amount should be C, and that would be 2 grams. Like this kind of questions can also come. Okay, right, fine. So now, why are we even studying about it? Why are we even studying about law of conservation of mass, and how is it even related to the balancing? Obviously, this is going to be related to the balance of the chemical equation, right? How is it related? Right now, you might have studied about this. Every atom, right? Every element will have its own something called as atomic mass. Right? Every element, see, there's something called as mass number and atomic mass. Both are little different, but the numbers, the values can be same, right? Fine, let me tell you the difference basically. See, when I tell mass number, right, mass number is number of protons plus number of neutrons, n power 0, 0 is charge, right? This is neutron, p plus is proton. Obviously this we know, isn't it? Mass number is basically the sum of number of protons plus number of neutrons. Okay, right? But atomic mass is slightly different. Atomic mass, if you ask me, sir, what is this? It is not mass of one atom. Please understand. Okay, so for example, we write atomic mass of sodium is 23 grams. We write it like this, right? So if you tell atomic mass as mass of one atom, that means what? I have one atom of sodium, right? And do you even think that one atom can weigh 23 grams? Impossible, right? Because we know atoms are very tiny particles. We cannot even look at them with the help of a microscope, right? They're that small, and how will they weigh 23 grams? Right? So remember, atomic mass is not the mass of one element, sorry, one atom. It is something else. Okay, we don't have to go into the details, right? So remember that atomic mass has something to do with the mass of an atom, but not directly. Okay, atomic mass has something to do with the mass of one atom, but not directly, because obviously mass of one atom cannot be this much of a big number. Same way, hydrogen atomic mass is 1 gram. Impossible. It cannot be 1 gram. 1 gram is too much of a number. Okay. So anyways, so you know mass number. Mass number is this. Maybe when you come to the higher class, when you come to the 11th class, maybe I'll tell you the first chapter in 11th. I'll tell you what exactly is atomic mass and how we are even getting these numbers, 23 or 16 or whatever it is. Okay, right? So what I'm trying to say is we are studying about the balancing. What we said is the amount of reactant should be equal to the amount of product. Okay, right. So please understand, as I told you, every element has its own atomic mass, isn't it? Right. Say if I write it like this, N2, plus 3. Okay, I'll write just H2. N2 plus H2 gives ammonia. Okay, right? Fine. Now, if from whatever we saw till now is we supplied some 5 grams and we supplied some 10 grams and what is going to happen. But if I don't give you any of the data, I don't tell you how much amount of N2 I'm adding, how much amount of H2 I'm adding, and how much amount of ammonia is getting formed. Nothing I tell. And still, you will be able to check whether the law of conservation of mass is obeyed here. How do we do it? We can do it with the help of atomic masses. Okay, right. So please understand, people, nitrogen will have 14 as the atomic number. So the number of protons is the atomic mass. No, Kana, it is not. Number of protons is atomic number. Okay, number of protons is atomic number. Number of protons plus number of protons is mass number. Right? Atomic mass is a little different. We'll speak about it later. Okay, it is not required for you now. Okay, for now you can consider atomic mass and mass number to be same, but again, it's not correct, right? But just for you to get satisfied, you can think it that way. Okay, right. So what I'm trying to tell you is, say nitrogen is now the atomic mass of nitrogen is 14. We already know this, right? So can I write N2 as 28 grams? I think in your 9th class you have studied something about molecular mass and atomic mass. Did you study?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
you know how is it 28? Correct. 2 nitrogens are there. 1 nitrogen 14 grams, so 2 nitrogens 28 grams. Same way, hydrogen. What is the mass?
1,
1 gram. So what is the total mass now?
2.
2 grams.
2, sir.
Right. 2. Okay. So am I doing something wrong? All right. Okay, fine. Cool. So then next here. Again, now what is this is the molecule, this is the compound. So we have to talk about the molecular mass. Can you tell me what is the molecular mass of NH3, ammonia? Molecular mass of NH3 is what? Just calculate and tell me. 17. Yes, right? So nitrogen, just now we saw 14, right? And 1 hydrogen has 1 gram. So there are 3 hydrogens, so 3 grams. So it will be 14 plus 3, and this 3 comes from this 3 hydrogens, right? So totally you have 17 grams. Okay. So what you see here, I see that if 1 molecule of N2 I take with 1 molecule of H2, and if it forms 1 molecule of ammonia, it is wrong. Why is it wrong? We'll see. 20 plus 2 is 30 grams here, the reactant side. And the product side, how much you have? You have only 17 grams, right? Okay, so that means this equation is violating your law of conservation of mass. Whatever be the law mass of reactant, total mass of the reactant should be equal to total mass of product. And what I'm seeing here, there's a mismatch. Here it is 30 and here it is 17. Okay, so for this mismatch to get over, I don't want this kind of mismatch, right? And that is the reason why we go for balancing, right? Now, indirectly, what we're trying to do is, we know each and every element has one atomic mass, right? So if the overall atomic mass and the overall atomic mass this side becomes equal, for them to become equal, right? Obviously, the number of atoms on both sides should also be same. Is it not? So it's pretty simple, right? So if I can make sure that there are 2 nitrogens here and 2 nitrogens here, obviously 1 nitrogen has 14. 2 nitrogen will have 28. So 28 grams of nitrogen this side and 28 grams of nitrogen this side. That is why we go for balancing. If the number of atoms of each element becomes equal, eventually the mass becomes equal. That is the reason why we go for balancing. Okay, the overall intention is to make sure that the masses on both sides are equal. And how do we make it equal? By making the number of atoms of each element on the reactant side and on the product side to be equal. Okay, again, I repeat my statement. The overall intention is to make the masses equal. How do we make the masses equal? By making the number of atoms equal on both sides. As simple as that. Okay, right. So maybe we already know what is the balanced equation, right? We know that N2 plus 3H2 giving 2 ammonia is what is the balanced equation, right? So we'll try to maybe check whether the masses are same on both sides. Okay, fine. So for N2, it's 28 grams. We already know. Now hydrogen, 2 grams, H2, 2 grams. But here I have 3 hydrogens, 3 H2s. So can I say it will be 6 grams? 2 into 3. Right? Totally how much? 34 grams here. Right? Now look at this. I have 1 ammonia which is now calculated, 17 grams. Now here I have 2 more, 2 ammonia. So 17 into 2 will become 34 grams. 34. 34. Hope you understand now. Why are we going for balancing? Because we do not want to violate law of conservation of mass. We cannot violate it. Right? So in order for the masses to be same between the reactant and product side, we make the number of atoms of each element same to the product, because the atomic masses will calculate according to the calculation will come out to be equal. Any questions? Everybody understood why are we going for balancing? Everybody understood?
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes,
Oh.
sir.
Good. Right. So now we understood why are you going for balancing. Now balancing is very easy. Right. You just have to maybe sit and solve maybe 5 questions, 10 questions you solve, 10 equations you take and you try to solve them. You are going to become an expert in balancing. Okay, maybe now I'll give you some equations. You'll try to balance. Cool. Okay, what is the time? Okay, cool. So let me give you. I'm going to give you the lengthy words. You're going to convert it into the equation. Then you're going to balance it. This kind of question, at least 2-3 questions will come in your board exam, if at all you have a board exam. Right? Okay. Anyways, even if in your school exam you want to get some marks, very easy. Okay. So let me give you. Say, I have barium chloride reacts with sodium sulfate to give sodium chloride plus barium sulfate. Okay, so this is the overall chemical reaction. I wanted to write the equation as well as go for balancing. Don't worry, I'm going to help you for balancing, but you also try. So don't be lazy. If you're not able to get the formula, I told you how to get the formula. Spend some time. Do not be lazy. Okay, if someone has completed, you can tell the answer. Or you can put it in the chat box. I think chat box will be a little easy, a bit difficult, like writing the equation there. You can unmute yourself and speak if you're completed.
Sir, the equation is BaCl2 plus NaSO4 gives NaCl plus BaSO4.
Okay, there is everything else is correct. Only one of the element, one of the compounds, this thing is wrong. What did you tell for sodium sulfate? For sodium sulfate, what is it?
NaSO4, sir.
That's where it is wrong. The rest of all the things are correct.
Is it Na2SO4, sir?
Yes, that Na2SO4. Yeah, BaCl2 plus Na2SO4 gives NaCl plus BaSO4. Balanced. Yes, Kumar, you're right. Okay, fine. So Barium, we just said it is Ba2 plus. We know Cl is Cl minus. If at all you have confusion, go back. Do not be lazy. It's okay. Okay, fine. So barium chloride will be BaCl2. You can understand Ba2 plus Cl minus. Minus one will come here, two will come here. So BaCl2. Okay, plus sodium sulfate. Remember, sulfate is SO4 2 minus. Okay, it's Na plus SO4 2 minus. So 2 will come here, 1 will go there. So it will be Na2 SO4. Done? Okay, now sodium chloride is very famous. We know it's NaCl. Barium sulfate again, Ba2 plus SO4 2 minus. 2 will come here, 2 will come here. But I told you, you cannot write it as Ba2 SO4 twice. Write the simplest formula. So it should be BaSO4. That's it. Right? So it should BaSO4. Now that's it. We got the equation. Okay, fine. Let me check the elements. We have to balance it now. We'll check. See, you please don't get afraid by looking at the number of elements here, because eventually, I'm telling you, remember this, right? Oxygen, oxygen alone. Okay, remember to balance oxygen only at the end. Okay, forget about oxygen in the initial stages, because eventually, if you do the other things correct, oxygen and other things will eventually get balanced. Okay, you try to concentrate on the metals. If they try to concentrate on the metal itself, you'll be able to get the balanced equation. Okay, metal in the sense there are only two metals here, sodium and barium. Right? Okay, we'll try to concentrate. So barium in the reactant side, one barium. Barium in the product side, one barium. So fine, no issues. We'll go for sodium. Right? Sodium, two sodiums in the reactant side, but you see here there is only one sodium in the product side. So what will we do? We can directly put a 2 there. Right? Okay, fine. So two sodiums. Okay, fine. Right? Now, I told you, do not talk about sulfur oxygen. We can directly go for other things. Say chlorine, we can check. Right? You check for chlorine. So two chlorines here in the reactant side. Right? Now you see here, there was one chlorine, but I have already put a 2. So already it's balanced. Chlorine, two chlorine balanced. We'll check for other elements also. One sulfur, four oxygens. Done. So everything is balanced. So only thing which you did is just to put a 2 here. Other than that, everything else is balanced. Okay, right? One more question like this. We'll see. Okay.
Sir, at the starting of the class, sir, you explained that lead and barium, sir, in the periodic table. So what was that, sir?
Okay,
I didn't understand that one, sir.
Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is barium, like what the only thing to take out of what I told is barium, lead, and zinc will form 2+ ions. That's all you're gonna take, right? So barium will form Ba2+, Pb will form Pb2+, what is zinc will form zinc 2+. That's all. Only thing you have to understand. Other things are explanations. What I told you is, did you understand about groups and periods?
Yes, sir.
So what I'm trying to tell you is, if there are elements in the same group, vertical column, right, they will form same ion, right? You saw beryllium, magnesium, calcium, barium. All of them will form 2+ ions, Be2+, Mg2+, Ca2+, Ba2+. All of them will form same ion. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay, sir.
Right. But what you have to understand is barium, lead, and zinc. All of them will form 2+ ions. That's it. That's all you have to know.
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine. Next thing maybe we'll see here is, I have calcium plus lead nitrate gives calcium nitrate plus lead. Go for it. Write the equation and try to balance it.
Sir, is the answer Ca2 plus 2 PbNO3 2 is equal to 2 CaNO3 2 plus Pb2, sir?
Okay, I think you have gotten confused with metals and non-metals. Calcium and lead are metals. So in what form will they exist? Monoatomic or diatomic?
So diatomic.
Monatomic. Non-metals will exist in diatomic form. H2O2.
Sir, I meant for non-metals diatomic, sir.
So non-metals diatomic, right? But you know, calcium and lead are metals, right? So you
Yes,
wrote
sir.
Ca2, Pb2. They will be Ca and Pb. That's it, because they're metals. Monatomic
Yes, sir.
form, right?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Ca plus PbNO3 twice gives CaNO3 twice plus Pb. Yes, correct, Kumar. Right. I think it's self-balanced, right? This equation.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is self-balanced. You don't have to balance it, right? So you're right. So for for calcium, it is Ca. Please don't write Ca2, Pb2, because I totally understand the confusion. There is nothing. You don't have to feel anything about it. It's all happening in the beginning. But once you're gonna get a hold of it, very simple, right? Okay. So calcium, just it's Ca. So lead nitrate. Okay, again Pb2 plus NO3 minus. Nitrate ion is NO3 minus. So swap. So it will become Pb NO3 twice. Now I told calcium nitrate. So it's Ca2 plus NO3 NO3 minus. So it will be Ca NO3 twice, and lead alone is there. So that's it. Okay, now you see everything is balanced. One Ca, one Pb, one Pb, two nitrogens. Hope I understand how it's two nitrogen. One nitrogen inside into two. Right? Again, same way, one nitrogen into two. Six oxygen, six oxygen. Everything else is balanced. Okay, fine. Maybe one last question, and then we'll wind up for today. Right? Fine. Let me give you sodium plus hydrogen gives sodium hydride. Okay, go for it. Even though you wouldn't have seen hydride, but I think you know what I mean. What do you mean by this? And it's go for it. Balance it also. And remember, people, when in the exam, if they give you equations like this and then you find that the equation is self-balanced, you have to write it as self-balanced. Mention that in the question also. Okay, just because you see you don't have to balance it, just write that the equation is self-balanced in the exam. I'm telling you. Okay, fine. Now you can answer this. Okay, Na2Na plus, yeah, correct, Kumar. Okay, can someone tell me what is this hydride? Yes, correct. Is hydride H minus? Yes, about asked that. Yes, it's correct. Okay, so remember hydride, I told you hydrogen can form two ions. One is H plus, the other is H minus. I mentioned how H plus and H minus are getting formed. And remember, I told you how to identify whether it's positive charge or negative charge. You see that IDE, it's ending with E. So definitely hydrogen here should be a negative charge. Okay, hydrogen here should be a negative charge. And how do I confirm it? By looking at the name. It's ending with E, right? Sodium is okay. I know for sure it is going for the positive charge. Now here hydrogen is going to form the negative charge. Okay, the negative charge will be H minus. Remember this. H has one electron. Add one more electron to become H minus, right? So I think if at all you would have gotten this, Na is there, Obviously hydrogen will be of H2. You should not write H. If you write H, absolutely wrong. Sodium only, because it's a metal. Hydrogen is not neither a metal nor a non-metal. So, but again, how it exists in atmosphere, it exists as H2. Okay. Then now you see Na plus H minus. That's it. One comes here, one comes here. So the formula for sodium hydride is NaH. Very simple. Now we'll go for balancing. Right? One sodium. Okay. Two hydrogens, one hydrogen. So obviously I have to put a 2 here. So two hydrogen is okay. Now again, sodium has become a problem. I have only one sodium here, but here I had two sodium. So I'll put 2 here. So it is 2Na plus H2 gives 2NaH. This is the equation. Right? I hope most of you would have gotten it, but I think the only confusion you would have faced is what is hydride. Hydride is H minus. Please understand. Right? Okay. Any other question, people? Any other question you want to ask? If not, we'll wind up. Any other question? Everybody, I hope everybody answered everything from whatever we saw today. Is there any question? Okay, fine. Thank you, people. We'll meet again next Sunday. Right? Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.